Hi, this is Betty Banjack, and this is Downtown Kitchen. I'm so glad you're able to join us again this evening. I have a very special guest, Dorothy McMaster, and I've known Mrs. McMaster for many years. She's been a family friend, and she makes a wonderful pie crust that is called Perfect Pie Crust every time, and she's going to show us how to do that this evening and give us all her little secrets. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hi, here we are in the kitchen, and tonight I'm with my good friend Dorothy McMaster, and I usually call her Mrs. McMaster because I've known her since I was a little child, so old things die hard.
But it's all right.
It's all right? Should I call you Dorothy or Mrs. McMaster?
Dorothy.
Dorothy? Okay.
Yes.
It's just funny because when I was a child, we always had to call our elders Mr. or Mrs., you know, and it still hangs on that we do that. And she's going to make her very, very famous pie crust, and it's called, what is it called? The Perfect Pie Crust
Every time.
Every time, that's right.
Yeah.
And it is. I've seen her make it a couple of times now, and it's, no matter what you do to it, it comes out really great. So I'm going to let her start and tell us what she has in here.
I have 4 cups of all-purpose flour in here, and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt.
Is this sifted or unsifted?
It's unsifted. 1 tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to mix that through with a fork.
Miss Dorothy
Whatever you're more comfortable with, Betty.
Told me that this fork she's using, she purchased with her husband when she first got married, and it's the last piece she has left, so it's sort of...
set up housekeeping.
When you first set up housekeeping, it's like this is a classic fork, you know?
I'm going to now add 1 3/4 cups of plain old Crisco. We don't want the butter flavored. We want just the white.
Yeah, you mentioned the butter flavor doesn't work out?
It just does not seem to work out and make as light a pie crust. Perhaps because there's so much, I don't know whether it's the butter that does it or not, really.
But it just might be made a little different.
Yeah.
Could you use like lard in this? Have you used lard?
I have not used anything after playing with it with the butter Crisco one time.
Only regular white Crisco or any shortening, like they make Spry and all. I'm not a commercial for Crisco. So.
And we're going to incorporate this, we hope, into fairly fine crumbs. Takes a minute or two. You need to try to make certain that you get it throughout fairly evenly. And we try not to use our hands too much with this. It seems to break down the fat in the shortening and makes for a tougher pie crust.
Yeah, this is one of those, the least you work it, the better it becomes.
That's right. That's right. Same thing when you roll it and handle it that way.
She hardly ever touches this. Once it goes in the bowl and nothing. She has a great roll-out bag. You'll see when she rolls it out.
Oops, get in there.
It makes a nice crumb.
This
recipe, as always, all our recipes will be available to you on a recipe sheet if you want it. And of course, you send your self-addressed stamped envelope to Downtown Kitchen, Post Office Box 1660. Norristown, Pennsylvania 19404, and we'll get that. And then the recipe I'm going to make will be on that too for this week.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we have a sheet for every week. So if you remember something, like if you just sort of give me a hint of which one you want or one of the recipes, you'll get both of the recipes that appear.
Now it's coming into where it should be, about the size.
Yeah, that's a
of
nice
crumbs.
crumb.
Yes. Just be certain you incorporate this dry on the side. And that should take...
It's basically mixing it together evenly,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's very important. Just put that in there for now. Now my next trick.
You have tricks?
Well,
you have to have tricks. She has 6 children. So you have to remember, from coming from the only child here, 6 children is devastating, you know, an awful lot of kids in one family.
That's one reason I like this pie crust recipe. It makes 4 pie crusts too at one time.
But I was told you make double and triple batter sometimes.
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah. I mean, at our house, if we had the table set for 4, I mean, company was coming.
Now I have beaten 1 egg. Well, Betty, could you slide the water over, please?
What you want?
I have a 1/2 cup of water. We're going to mix this.
That's tap water, just plain old
Yes, it is.
water.
Water. Some people might want spring water. They don't like the local water's taste. And we're going to add a tablespoon of vinegar. And everyone is surprised at the vinegar, but that's what helps make this flaky.
That's sort of the secret ingredient.
Yes, it really is.
I like vinegar. I happen to make a lot of vinegars in the summer and the fall. This is plain white vinegar.
I add this and mix it with a fork.
So if you have
Trying to
six
get the
children,
drive off.
whoops, sorry. If
I'm
you have
sorry.
6 children, how many grandchildren do you have?
Well, let's see. Brahman's married a young fellow that had quadruplets, and then she has one of her own. They're about 16 and 4 great-grandchildren.
That's a large family to make pies for.
Yeah, Mom gets the pie every holiday.
My mother was never a pie maker.
No?
No, it was sort of cakes, sheet cakes.
Well, I learned, I was an only daughter. We had household help, and I had never even cooked an egg. And I married a soldier who was only a PFC, and we went overseas, and you could not get the foods that you could get here. I learned to cook.
Oh, I can imagine. I understand it was quite a cultural shock, especially, was this the Korean War? This
No,
later?
right after World War II.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people that went to other countries had cultural shock when they came to foods because they were nothing like people ate here, and it was just totally different.
Oh, especially when we went to Japan. That was a rude awakening.
And yet a lot of people in other countries think hot dogs and hamburgers are a rude awakening. Though they're becoming, today they're more popular, and McDonald's has opened up around the world. Okay, that
Here we
looks
come.
good.
Now we're just about the right stage for this. Now the next step is you divide this into 4 balls and put it in wax paper and chill it before you use it to roll it out to whatever you choose to do. And because we want to sort of,
Do you want to make a ball? I have paper.
if you like me to.
It's right here in front of you. And if you can make one, you can just show them, and then we can make up the rest later.
That's fine.
I'm sure everyone will have pie this week.
This is about the only time I really use my hands with this.
Can you freeze this?
Very well, for up to 3 months. And again, I try not
So
having
if you
it
make
too
the
much.
batter today and you only want to make 1 pie or 2 pies, you
Put
can
it
freeze
away.
the rest.
Yes, yes.
Would you wrap it in something else
That's what
besides
I
wax
do. Of
paper?
course, I used to put it in baggies, anything like that. That's it.
Well, here, have a towel,
Thank you. I'm a little guppy here.
and I'll move this out of the way. You can work on that later.
I brought a pie crust. I had done.
Now, this has been refrigerated how long?
Well, I just put it in there about 15 minutes ago.
Okay. But it was refrigerated before?
Yes.
See this little pie, I don't know what it's called, a pie roller outer thing?
It's much neater because I cook all over the kitchen. My
You
family
can get
says.
these in any of the gadget stores
Yes, the kitchen
and
stores.
cooking stores. Some supermarkets even have them. And they are wonderful. They make a neat pie crust, the right size. There's no mess. You don't have to scrape off your board. I have a wonderful board for rolling out dough and baking, and I hate to use it because every time I use it, it takes me an hour to scrape it clean. So,
And one of the tricks to this too is try not just keep rolling in the same spot all the time. Turn it back and forth.
now you said you can patch this?
Yes, all the little edges, and if you have anything left over, you can just throw it in the next pie crust, and it incorporates very well.
As I mentioned before, I knew the whole McMaster's family for many years. They lived next to my Aunt Margaret, but now Mrs. McMaster's lives at St. Peter's Place with my mother, not with her, but in one of the apartments at St. Peter's Place. So that's how I sort
I
of
usually
became
do this.
friends again.
St. Peter's is very nice. I love it there.
I only hear good things.
I shouldn't do that.
Now here we have just a plain pie plate.
Right?
You can do this in foil throwaway pans, you know.
Can you pull that for me? Thank you.
In fact, as you all know, I'm the queen of the foil throwaway pans.
Oh yes, definitely. I've learned I've lost so many baking things, taking things to various events and never getting my pie pans back, pie plates.
Let me take this out of the way.
There we go.
I also do that with, I buy plates and dishes at yard sales.
Oh, I've
And
done
then
that.
when I
yes.
have a cake or some cookies or goodies to give away for whatever reason, I don't have to worry about getting it back, and then I don't have to worry about losing the dish to my set,
Yes.
which I've done. Or,
It's
you know, and they
catastrophe,
break,
isn't
and
it?
people, especially in hectic times, people don't remember where they got them. They just know they're there, and if you don't come and claim your dish.
I'll put your name on it or something
Yeah.
of that sort. I've resorted to that many times to get it
I
back.
think if I turn over half of my mother's pans and dishes, you'll see a piece of tape that says Banjack. It stays on for a long time. I'm going to use this pie crust a little later to make a salami pie, which is an all-time favorite of mine. But this can be filled with fruit, with cream fillings, with... Now you can either bake this ahead
Yes,
and fill it, or you can fill it and bake it, right?
that's right. I find that it shrinks a little more when you don't fill it, unless you have pie weights or beans or something like that to hold it in place. Oops, a little rough with that one. It's coming. And not to take too much of your time.
I had one of these finished pie crusts over here one day when we were working on them, and I think I kept it for a week. And at the end of a week, just covered with a piece of foil or tin, it was still like a nice little cake.
I was amazed when she told me that.
It was still good. I was still nibbling at it a week later as a little treat as I went by the counter. So
Here's your pie
you have to
crust.
brush that with...
The egg white, thank you for reminding me. Now, since she's going to fill this especially, I beat up a little bit of an egg white. And I just brush it across, especially the bottom of it. It prevents the pie crust from getting soggy from the filling. You know, you've eaten apple pies and they taste great, but they have real soggy fillings. This just seems to seal it, and all the juices don't run through the crust and make it difficult to get it out.
Now you're going to refrigerate this again. You said that's
Yes.
one of the big secrets is the second refrigeration
Yes.
or freezing it.
It's
or
better if you freeze it the
Chilling.
second, chill it.
Chilling's
yes.
the word we
Chill it the second time, and that's ready to be chilled for a few minutes.
Why
and
don't we put that in the
she will fill
refrigerator
it.
so I can use that one a little later
Okay.
on. And over here, whoops, we have one that's not filled, but it's
And
it's
it did
finished.
shrink a little because I didn't have couldn't find my pie weights.
I lost my pie weights too lately. I had
Yeah.
the beans, and I don't, the regular beans.
Yes.
I don't know where they are. I looked
I
everywhere.
used the beans for other purposes, so I didn't have any today, so it shrank a little.
But it's really nice and crisp. Look how easy this came out. Not that but if you wanted to do that, that would be a great tart or something, and put it in another
You
dish.
could,
and
yes.
It comes out very easy.
It's very short and very light.
It's excellent pie crust. I'd take it from me. And I'm not a major pie crust person, but I've learned to really like this pie crust. Even as a little cake, if you made this flat, you have a giant pastry, but it's very good. So I want to thank you very much
Oh,
for
I've
coming.
enjoyed it. It was
And
a pleasure.
I enjoyed watching you do this, and I'll have to maybe try making some more pie crusts. Never going to gain your fame, of
Oh,
course.
come on.
So we'll be right back.
Hi, I bet some of you don't know what this is. This is a bookmobile. It's a full-size library. Why don't we go inside and see what it's all about? Come on. Where's the door? Here it is. Oh, here we go. It's really nippy out there. Ooh, that was... Here we are. Don't you see all the shelves and all the books, just like your library? The Bookmobile Library offers you a lot of services. Maybe Joe Hood, the driver, can explain some of the services that are offered by the Bookmobile.
Welcome aboard the Bookmobile. As Betty said, we do have a lot of services. Aside from the normal books that you see, we also have a fairly decent large print section over there. We have videotapes and books on tape, audio cassettes here that people listen to in the car.
They're real popular, those audio tapes. They get more popular every day.
Really, a lot of people use them on their commutes back and forth to work. Also, if somebody's looking for a specific book, we'd take a request here and take it into the library. They'll find the book in there, either from our library or from other libraries, and then they send the patron a card in the mail to let them know when to pick it up at their stop.
That's a great service. They're able to get books from, like you said, all over the country, all over the world. In fact, I think recently they got some books from Italy or England. I'm not quite sure where, but they do this through ILL, which is an interlibrary loan, and this is at no cost to the patron unless there is a charge by the institution that you're asking something from it. It's very small if there's any charge. It's really a free service. And it's really very popular, and I don't know the statistics on it. I really should, but I don't know the statistics on it, but I know it's used all the time, and people are always looking for books, materials, not just books, everything they need. The library, if you haven't been to a library before, recently I should say, I hope we've all been to a library sometime in our life, check one out. Check out your regular local library or a bookmobile. You usually see them sitting on the parking lots of shopping centers and other places of business, and they also have a schedule of where they're going to be. There are many, many stops on the western Montgomery County, western part of Montgomery County, I should say, and they're all listed here. All the stops are listed. The times are there, the dates are there, and the hours and everything. So if you want one of these bookmobile schedules, if you write to me at my post office box, downtown Kitchen, post office box 1660, Norristown, Pennsylvania 19404. We'll get one off to you right away. And if you're really good, you'll send a self-stamped addressed envelope like you usually do for everything you get from Downtown Kitchen. The Bookmobile service is a service of the Montgomery County Norristown Public Library. But if you live in other counties throughout the area, please check with your local library, and they can tell you what services they have to offer.
Limerick Country Deli, where the big rigs and the locals go for a complete assortment of deli sandwiches, eat in or take out. Stop by for your Pennsylvania lottery tickets, cold beer, or just to use the no surcharge ATM. Featuring dairy products, fresh baked goods, deli meats and cheeses, automotive and household supplies, open every day. Stop in, call, or fax your order. Limerick Country Deli, the little store that has it all, with the best sandwiches in town.
Well, here we are back, and I'm going to be making this evening a salami pie. This is a recipe that I had gotten from someone I worked with many years ago at Gordon in Philadelphia, and it's sort of an Italian tradition, but anyone can make it. It's good no matter what your ethnic background is to eat, and I promise you. First, I'm going to take 1/4 pound of cooked salami and dice it up nice and thin. The secret, not nice and thin, but in nice chunks. The secret is when I go to the market and I get the lunch meat, I ask them to give me 1/4-inch thick pieces. So when I go to dice it, it's a lot easier than trying to cut it this way and that way. I just cut it crosswise twice. So again, that's 1/4 pound of cooked salami, 1/4 pound of hard salami. Give or take an ounce or two is not going to be any big thing. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get the exact amount. And then I'm going to, for a little different in flavor and texture, I'm going to put 1/4 pound of ham of your choice. This happens to be tavern ham, but you can use boiled ham or unsalted ham or cooked ham, whatever you prefer. Then I keep mixing everything in between so it's nice and evenly separated. Next, I'm going to put in, I'm going to put in a 1/4 pound of cheese. I use the shredded cheese. I cheat a little. Cheese is hard to dice or to shred sometime on your own, so I buy it this way, but you can use it, you can do it yourself and dice it if you want. And I'm going to incorporate that evenly. That's going to be melting a little, so just so it's small, the shape doesn't really matter. And then what I have is a tablespoon of Parmesan cheese or Romano cheese or any of the dry cheeses, just for a little different flavor and texture. Put that in. I love these little bowls. I use them all the time. I do that so you're able to see what I'm putting in to the big glass bowl. Then I have a 1/4 cup of chopped parsley. I love to smell fresh parsley. I think it's one of the underestimated herbs, or they say in England, herbs. And again, I keep mixing that well so it's all separated. Then to that I add 1 egg, just 1 egg, and it's, oh, I have to tell you something. You can taste this all you want, and so to taste it, I'm going to put the pepper in before the egg. I put a little bit of the ground black pepper with this wonderful pepper mill that I like because you can do it with one hand. Mix this up again. Now, if you want to taste it just to see how the pepper is, don't put any more salt in this. This has a lot of salt because of the lunch meat that's already in there. So you have this all together. Now, once you put this 1 egg into the mixture, no more sampling. The sampling ends with that because then you could have a problem. Raw egg is not good. I know there's a couple schools of thought about that, but just don't take any chances and eat raw egg. Just like people shouldn't let their children lick the batter of the cake batter off of spoons because it usually has raw egg in it. So up until the point of adding the egg, you can taste this all you want. Then I'm going to take, let me just move this over here, a pound of regatta cheese. That's one of those little containers. They come in 1 and 3 pound containers. So we use the 1 pound container, and you can use the regular or you can use the low fat, depending on what you would like. The first one I made today that I'm going to show you happens to be regular. This one is made with the low fat cheese. And we mix that together very well. And again, I can't stress about not tasting this because you want to taste this when you see it like this all together. Now I'm going to have to get 2 things. One thing is the pie crust that Mrs. McMaster's made. I think it's been chilled enough. And I need a spoon. Okay. So what I'm going to do is take the mixture and put it in the pie crust. I usually just dump it all in, and then I distribute it. It's hard to hold the bowl like that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to, with a spoon, sort of smush, is that a word? Smush the filling into all the spaces so it's nice and even. I guess that's pretty smushed in. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the pepper mill and I'm going to do another sprinkling of black pepper. Again, that depends on how much you like black pepper. Then what I'm going to do is do a little sprinkling, additional sprinkling, because it looks nice, of the parsley. It just gives it a nice texture when it's finished because it sort of all melts down like we'll see. So I'm going to put this over here. I'll put it in the oven after the show's over. So I'm very popular at work this week. See, they can all eat salami pie all week. Now here we have the finished salami pie. And you can see how everything's sort of blended in and melted down, and the little extra parsley. Let me get this parsley up off the... Nothing worse than a real messy cabinet. When you put the pie in the oven, you leave it in the oven for 40 to 45 minutes at a 375 degree oven. And now sometime when you see it after that time, it looks like it's still liquid and it's not finished, but it is finished. Take it out of the oven. What you're seeing is the cheese is melted, and if you keep baking it, you're just going to have a tough pie. So let me get a cutter and a plate. The first piece is always the hardest one to get out. After that, the first piece, it's always easier. There we go. I'll cheat that one. And here we have this wonderful pie. A lot of people make this after Easter. And the reason being is, you know, at Easter you have a lot of ham and different kind of meats and cheeses left over. Well, this is what they make with the leftover ham and cheese a lot. You add the salami because, again, I said it had Italian origins and they use salami and everything. And you can get that at your local market. So I think you'll enjoy this. It's a great dish. It's great in the summer. You put it in the oven and you go away for 45 minutes. You come back. You let it cool. I like it personally. I like it cold. Some people like it warm. You let it cool 45 minutes. Within 2 hours after you stick it in the oven, you have a real nice dinner with a salad, and you can go out in the balcony or patio and sit there and eat it. So I think it's something you should try. You like trying it. It's very good, and we'll be right back. Well, we're so glad you came to join us this evening, and I'd like to thank the Montgomery County Norristown Public Library and the Limerick Country Deli, and I do believe that there are a few of the downtown kitchen cookbooks left at the deli, so if you'd like to get one, you can stop by the deli and pick one up. There are no more left through the mail, so please don't send in for the book. I'm very sorry to say that it is sold out, but I'm very happy to say that the new book, which will be out in the middle of the summer to early fall, which is based on my Downtown Kitchen column in the Phoenix, which appears every Wednesday in the food section. And I had mentioned before there wasn't a title to the book, but I do believe now we have titled it, and it'll be called 2 Cups of Yesterday. So that's up for change, but we do believe that will be the final total, or final title, excuse me. And I want to, again, thank the advertisers for their support, and good cooking and good eating.